Ryan and Ramen here with Prudential Pest Solutions. And I want to show you what we found on our walk today. We usually take a walk on lunchtime during the winter hours. And from a block away, I saw mattresses out on the curb. Now, it's the first week in February. Maybe people are just moving out, and maybe that's the case. But as a pest control exterminator, when I see mattresses and a box spring both going out to the trash at the same time, it usually means bed bugs. And guess what? It absolutely was. So let's take a look at what bed bug activity looks like and why you should never, ever take home any upholstered furniture from the curb. So from a block away, how can we tell that these mattresses had bed bugs? Well, the first thing we're going to look at and we're going to see, if I stop it right here, is we're going to see these black spots all along the corners of the mattress. And what that is, that's bed bug excrement, meaning the bed bugs feed on blood and they essentially poop out the excrement, right? And that is what those black spots are. So it may look like a smear or spots, but that's bed bug excrement. And if I stop it again on the other side, we can see those little white spots there peppered in. Those are the bed bug eggs. So we're not seeing any live bed bugs here because, number one, these mattresses are outside. It's Pennsylvania and it's February, so they're cold. But they may not even be in the bed anymore. So if you haven't seen a bed bug, that's what they look like. That's an actual size of one. Some people think that they're too small, you can't even see them. That's not true. This one is bright red because it is recently fed, but they can be red, brown, any combination of the two if they've been feeding on people. But they can also be clear if they might be clear or translucent. So I have some pictures just to show us what they look like. I tend to think, and somebody has explained it to me, that they look like apple seeds, and I think that's a good way to put that. They're about the same size, about the same shape as apple seeds. They're very flat, and as we show later in the video here, even though that these folks, and these were not customers of ours, like I said, Ramen and I were on a nice walk, and we just saw these mattresses out. But some folks think, hey, if I just throw away the mattress, then I'm good to go because they're bed bugs, so they must only live on beds, right? Well, that's not the case. Bed bugs can live in a multitude of places, and where we usually find them is where people are. So, for example, this was a crevice underneath a couch. Well, people tend to congregate on couches or watching TV, whatnot. That's where bed bugs may be as well. Find them in other areas besides just the mattress and the box spring and the couches. For example, this one here, they were in and around the smoke alarm. Now, this smoke alarm was on the ceiling. So you figure they have to crawl all the way up the wall and get into that smoke alarm there. And that's where some of these bed bugs at this house were living. So the next one here I'm going to show you is of a drop ceiling. So you figure that crack along the top of the wall where the drop ceiling meets, they can just scoot in between there, and then that's where they live. So we can see that in this picture that's just the excrement kind of peppered along the wall there. So it's not just the mattress that we find bed bugs in. It can be anywhere essentially within 10 feet of where you're living. So this here is a already fed bed bug, right? So that one's darker red, almost brown. The one above it is more brown. Those are all eggs. You see the white there? Those are all eggs. And this is the back of a nightstand that was next to a bed in a heavily infested house. So again, if this person here had just thrown away their mattresses, this would not have resolved the issue because the eggs and the bed bugs were in many places, but in this specific case, they were behind the nightstand, and they're going to be in those cracks and crevices there. So those little crack where that wood meets, they have all their eggs put in there, and you can see I'm pointing it out here. So when we're looking at a house, we're going to start at the mattresses in the bed because we spend 33% of our lives in bed. So that's mostly where we're going to find them, and that's where they get their name. But it doesn't mean that's the only place we find them. Okay, so again, this is the back of a nightstand, heavily infested. So even if you suspect you have bed bugs and your first thought may be, and it may sound logical, is I'm going to throw away the mattresses. I'm going to get new mattresses. But what if those bed bugs are in the framing of the bed? What if they're in the nightstand? What if they're in the smoke alarm or under the couch or in your car or something like that? Well, that's where an integrated and professional approach to bed bug elimination comes into play. And that's where Prudential Pest Solutions can really help. So what some companies do is they'll use heat. What some companies do is that they'll just spray willy-nilly all over the place. What we do is we use an integrated approach. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in to your home or to your apartment or to your office or to your car or what have you. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our special bug vacuum. And why is it special? Because it has its own separate compartment that can't infest other houses, my truck, my guy's vehicles, anything like that. But the first step is we're going to remove as many live and dead bed bugs and their eggs. All right, so that's the first step. Before I even take a chemical off my truck, we're going to grab our vacuum. After we're done vacuuming, we're going to come through with a liquid, an aerosol, and a dust insecticides. Everything obviously is going to be pet and kid friendly. Obviously we can't have the homeowners and the pets in there during our actual treatment process, but once everything's dry, within usually 3 to 4 hours, homeowners can return back. Once we complete that first treatment, we bring the vacuum out again, because a lot of times bed bugs will come back out after the treatment. So we want to make sure we suck up the rest of them. And then we're going to come back in about a week or two later and switch up our chemicals and do the exact same thing again. Now, no, and nobody can. But what you're going to find that we do differently is that we're going to take an integrated approach. We're going to use our vacuum, and what that vacuum does, besides just physically remove the bugs and the eggs, is that it gives us an opportunity to get as close and personal to where these bed bugs are and where they harbor and eliminate them. Okay, we're not just closing our eyes, spraying and praying, and we're leaving in 20 minutes. We're going to actually resolve the problem. What if that takes 2 treatments? Great. If we have a big problem and it takes more, we're committed. We'll resolve any bed bug problem you have. So if you live in Berks County, Chester County, or Southeastern Pennsylvania, give us a call or text us at 484-401-4361, because we are your local bed bug experts.